the kind of other side of it as well, though, because I was on kind of like dating apps for a wee while. For a couple of months, I was on like your Tinder and Grindr and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of put on my profile, I just said, just to let you know, I have issues with my vision. I have low vision, visually impaired. And I then said, if that is a problem, then please be polite and move on and don't message me.
That's fair. Yeah, no, for me, it's a bit of a long story. In my own personal life, I haven't had that opportunity to meet someone my age for many thousand different reasons. It gets us way off track. I don't know. There's all sorts of videos on YouTube that other YouTubers have done about if you're blind, do you tell the person, do you tell your date you're blind or not? I don't know. I haven't gotten there. I think it would depend. I think in the end, though, in my own life, the person would probably already know. They would probably already be able to tell. Usually, people are already aware that something's unusual about me, or maybe they've heard of me from somewhere. So I don't know. If I had that experience, probably the lady would know, the woman would know that I'm blind. Would I make a big deal of it? Like, no. Would I withhold it? No. Would she have to find out for herself? Yeah. But you know what? The way that I view it is, if that person in the future, whoever it is, if they can't handle the fact that I withheld that information for 30 seconds, just slightly, if they don't have the understanding to know why that information was withheld, then they probably aren't a good match in the first place. So there is a time to withhold information, and then there is a time to tell the truth. Yeah. My theory is if you withhold on purpose, then you have to let the truth out all in its own in the end.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm the kind of person where I would rather just be upfront.
Yeah.
To kind of start with, because that way they kind of know what to expect.
Right.
And I've had guys saying to me, listen, that's not a problem. The fact that you have low vision is absolutely fine. So there is people out there that do or would accept it, so it isn't all bad, but
sure.
For me, I would prefer to just be open and honest, like from the very start, but yeah.
What advice, if you were to say in one sentence, what advice do you have for someone who's blind and maybe a listener who's maybe in a similar situation or is struggling with a relationship or struggling to tell a partner about these certain things? If you were to summarize the advice that you would give them, if you were talking to them, what would you say in basically one sentence?
I would just say, do not give up. Whatever you do, do not give up dating, because I know a few people who are visually impaired who have just 100% gave up, which I think is quite sad, because there is somebody out there for everybody, but yeah, definitely do not give up and just keep being yourself, and that right person will come along and they will accept you for who you are, so yeah, definitely do not give up hope and keep trying.
Excellent. Don't give up. Yeah, that's good. And maybe the other thing on top of that, don't give up, is understand yourself and know who you are.
Well, definitely.
And that's a huge, but that's a critical thing that's overlooked. A lot of people,
absolutely.
A lot of people don't really know who they are, and so they haven't really developed their own self, so they don't really know who they are.
Definitely. You have got to love yourself before anybody else can love you.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. You have to accept yourself for who you are before anybody else
could possibly accept you. Absolute perfection. Totally agree with you, mate. Totally. Yeah, cool. All right. Now, your third video I didn't watch, so you can make it up, or you can tell me everything about it if you want, about the issue. An issue that is quite somehow quite controversial, which is that you wanted to talk about the use of your cane.
Yeah, okay, so that video was quite short. It wasn't a long video. It was basically just describing the use of different canes and what the purpose is and what they're used for, and if I use one, which I do sometimes. I don't use a guide cane or a long cane. I use an ID cane.
What's
It's basically
that? What's that? Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay, so an ID cane is basically, it's a small cane. It's quite thin. It's not very big, and basically what it is, it's not used for any sort of like, what do you call it? It isn't used for like out and about when you're walking kind of thing to help you about. It's just used as an ID to say, "Hi there, I'm visually impaired," just to let you know that I can't see.
Well, wait a minute. What if I want to withhold that information?
Well, you don't use one. It's as simple as that. Just do not use one.
I had to be a little bit. I had to go off your second video there. I had to be a little bit facetious there. See, yeah, I don't know about that, because I think with certain technology that my opinion is kind of harsh about it. I think that with certain technology we use, it's useful for us, but it can also give sighted people the impression that we need more technology than we need.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fair point of discussion that when we're using these technologies in society, in public places, sighted people are watching, and it is affecting the way that they view us as blind people. Not that I could care. I could care personally. I could care less about this, but to an extent, I do care. I mean, I'm a professional. I'm a teacher. I have a job. I'm a podcaster now, basically a talk show host. So, I mean, if I go out into a public place, which of course I try to do as infrequently as humanly possible, but if I find myself in the circumstance, I guess, to be in a public place, I certainly do not want sighted people to think I'm weird, walking around with some sort of a strange cane-like thing that they wouldn't really understand. And it's totally great that you have one. No worries, but I think it's a matter of, it's good that we use it, and then we have to think, well, what do other people think? So what can you tell us? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so basically, like, as I said, that you've got different canes for different uses and whatever, depending on your needs. But for me, I have enough vision to get out and about myself on my own, so all I need is the ID cane to just kind of symbolise, to say that I'm visually impaired, and if I need some assistance, I might have to ask somebody, like, for assistance in a shop, or whatever. But I've also found that there's a lot of people out there that are quite embarrassed, to use a cane or to ask to get one, because obviously there is a lot of, as you kind of said there, like, if somebody was to see someone with a long white cane, then they know that they are visually impaired, so a lot of people can feel embarrassed and a bit ashamed to use one, which I think is quite sad as well, because I think that canes are great, for mobility and to get out and navigate on your own, because it gives you that bit of independence, because let's face it, if you didn't use the cane, then you would obviously have to rely on somebody else to kind of guide you about, so with the cane, it basically gives you that freedom and independence to go out on your own, so I think that people who are a bit maybe unsure about using one or getting one should definitely look into it, because they have so many benefits, and although people will know that you have issues with your vision, that shouldn't really matter, what should matter is your independence and being able to get out and explore the world, you know, all by yourself with the help of a cane. So yeah, that's my kind of thought on the matter.
I agree. I choose to use a cane when I'm in a public place. I have a retired guide dog, but now she's very old, and it's a bit of a long story. She's towards the end of her lifetime. She's very, very old now, so she doesn't work anymore. So if I go out, I use a cane. I use a cane because it shows sighted people to be cautious of the
Yep.
fact that I'm blind when I'm walking. So it's more for other people than it is for me.
Yeah, also
Right.
obviously it would alert drivers and cars and all that kind of stuff when you're crossing the road.
It's more a cane. When you're a child, you're taught that a cane is for you to navigate when you walk around, and it is, and that's true.
Yeah.
But really, it's to kind of signal in a polite way, hey, excuse me, I can't see well, you need to be watching out for me. Which is why I admit, if someone's not watching out, I'm not very kind about it, because I do think that sighted people are in their own world, you know, looking at the text message and looking at, well, anything else, and they need to be paying more attention in these types of situations.
Yeah.
So basically, we have a couple minutes, about 2 minutes here, and then we'll have to sign off for our station. What are some, so first of all, I loved this recording. You did a magnificent job. You should have a podcast of your own. Of course, you did so well. When it's published, I'll tweet it back to you. You'll see an official tweet from my distributor right back in your messenger, so you'll know when to listen. But any final questions or any final things, you know, final little statements that you want to say?
Just hope that people that have listened to this can take away something beneficial. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, is to make people more aware, you know, of the issues that we face from day to day life. And yeah, if there's people out there that can take something away from the things that I've discussed, then that's great. And also just want to say thank you for having me. It's been
pleasure.
Fun. It's been
my
really good.
pleasure. And really, and thank you. You're the person who's staying up very late in Scotland, so thank you for doing this. I immensely appreciate it, and I hope that you will, certainly when this episode comes out, that you will share it with those other people you work with, because I would be interested to have them on this show. By the way, I do interview sighted people. If you're sighted and you wonder, can you be on this podcast? Yes, of course. Sighted people are welcome to be guests on my podcast. It's simply my audience is blind. Most of my guests so far have been most of them have been blind. I forget if I've interviewed anyone who is sighted. Have you, in our final minute, have you been to the States much?
No, I haven't ever been.
Oh.
No, never been.
Well, okay. Well, it's an interesting country, but it can be very hard to navigate because we have a huge country with a lot to do. So you'd have to kind of organize some sort of a trip. Yeah, have you ever traveled with Travelize, by the way? Just curious if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't heard of them. No.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll send you more info. You may or may not want to participate. I think it's really cool, or just my opinion. Well, anyway, everybody, Connor, you know that you're always welcome to come onto my show anytime you like for a part 2. I'm looking forward to part 2, so I want you to be thinking about that. My name's Aaron Richmond. He was Connor, and as we like to say, thank you so much for listening. Have a good day today and a great day tomorrow. Bye, everybody.